Anger is a lot like an open wound. If you don't do anything about it, it'll fester. That's one of the first things I remember the therapist saying in the anger management group I was forced into attending after punching a kid in the face for looking at me wrong. Now, in my defense, looking at me wrong in this case didn't mean looking down at me like he was better than me. It meant, I'm going to fuck you up after school. I just decided to take a preemptive strike, so to speak. So I punched him in the face. And I got sent to the counselor's office. Again. She took one look at my records, sighed, and sent me to an anger management counseling session. Now, in hindsight, I think she might have taken pity on me. I think she did it for my own good. Maybe a last-ditch effort to keep me out of juvie. Damn if I know. So, there I was, late in the evening, surrounded by a bunch of older guys and some hippie prick trying to convince us that violence wasn't the answer. We went through a round of introductions, said a few kumbayas, listened to the therapist share his stupid relaxation techniques, and yada yada. I'll admit I was barely listening. I was just kind of sitting there, waiting for my punishment to be over so I could go home and watch some TV. I was actually a little surprised by how quickly the hour went by. I mean, it wasn't so bad. It kept me away from home, which honestly wasn't such a bad thing. And hey, free donuts. Stale, but free. I can't argue with that. Now, before I walked out the door, however, the therapist grabbed me by the shoulder and looked me dead in the eyes. "It'll fester," he warned, his tone serious and his grip strangely strong, yet not aggressive. "If you don't let the anger go, it'll fester and eat you from the inside out." I gave him an awkward half smile, rolled my eyes, and nodded. Yeah, I heard you in there. Thanks, bro." The goddamn gall of this guy to keep me after class. Got it on my skin. Who the fuck did he think he was? I'd served my time. The room had emptied. I wanted to go. I left the anger management session feeling more livid than I had going in. As I waited for the bus, I could still feel his hands on my shoulder. Felt like pins and needles prickling me from under my skin. It wasn't painful. It's kind of like when your arm falls asleep and you finally get your circulation back. But it was weird. When I got home, I found my dad half passed out on the couch. Drunk. Again. Maybe high. Probably both. The second I went into the kitchen to try and make myself craft dinner, I stumbled on an empty bottle and it clattered against the wall, waking my dad up. He let out a roar of anger. "You little motherfucker!" I felt his grip on my left shoulder before I could even slip out the back door. I noticed the prickling sensation on my skin disappear on that side almost as soon as he touched me. Dad threw me against the wall, hard. The sound I made as I hit it was like a crack of thunder. Thankfully, I could tell I hadn't broken anything this time. I saw my dad's arm rearing back and curled up into a ball, hiding my head under my arms. Nothing happened. Dad screamed. I looked up only to see his skin had gone white. No. Wasn't it? It hadn't gone white, it had become covered in something white. It was moving. They were moving. Millions of little maggots were crawling up and down his face, pouring out of his mouth. He coughed and gagged and gurgled as they wriggled out of his every orifice. I could smell the piss leaking out of him as he tried to scratch them off his face. They were all over him. "Do something!" He screamed in guttural terror. Shaking, I backed away as my father stumbled towards me in a panicked frenzy. The maggots, or whatever the fuck they were, kept falling off him and crawling back on him until they covered every inch of him. And then, he fell over. He fell over and stopped moving. And all the little bugs turned and crawled back inside. You could see them moving under his skin as they settled in place. They said he had a heart attack. High blood pressure, something like that. I was put in foster care. That very night, this kid kept antagonizing me, pushing every goddamn button I had. He was probably as fucked up as I was. Probably wanted to fight. Oh, and I was going to give it to him. I grabbed him by the collar, pushed him against the wall, but just as I was about to reconfigure his face, I felt something under my skin. I could see a lump wriggling just beneath the surface. That's when I felt something in my mouth. I let the kid go and ran into the washroom to spit it out. Goddamn maggots. With every heat wave of anger radiating through my skin, I could feel more and more of them crawling in and around me. I scratched at my skin, cursed, screamed, tried to get them off. Nothing worked. No matter how much I fought, their sheer numbers started to overwhelm me. Then I felt something on my shoulder. Felt a calming, warm hand gripping me softly. I heard the therapist's voice in my head. Anger is a lot like an open wound. If you don't do anything about it, it'll fester. Let it go. How the fuck was I supposed to do that? I closed my eyes and tried to remember the advice he'd given me. Stay calm. Count to 10. Forgive. Being angry only hurts yourself. Forgiveness doesn't mean what the other person did is okay, it just means you choose not to let it affect you anymore. Stay calm, count to 10, let it go. The pounding pressure of anger subsided. I opened my eyes. The maggots were gone. I won't say that I never got angry again after that. But whenever I did, I tried to remember what that therapist said. As if I don't calm down, I can still feel those things crawling under my skin. I don't want to end up like my father.